Welcome, Hawk fans. Welcome to another episode of Hawk Talk. I am your host, Colin Cole, and we have another awesome episode to bring to you today. And of course, we are going to be talking about the Big Ten championship game and, of course, those Michigan Wolverines. But first, I got to introduce my resident guest co-host. I got to stop saying that guest. I don't know how that keeps getting in there, but I got to make sure that I give credit to the two-time All Big Ten, three-year starter at offensive tackle, luxury real estate mogul, all those good things that I always say about this guy. He's here to bring us some insight. We're going to talk these Michigan Wolverines. So welcome him to the show today, Mr. Porter. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, man. It's always a pleasure to be here. One of these days, you're going to let me introduce you. I promise. It's going to be fun.
Introductions. That's my thing, bro. That's my thing. I'm going to bring back what I'm going to do next is I'm bringing back Kenny. That's what I'm bringing back next. And that's my thing is to introduce those individuals that I talk about on Legends of Kenny. But that's the next time. That's coming up soon. Anyways, back to the subject matter at hand, and that is the Big Ten title game. After the rankings were unveiled Tuesday night, David, it went from an assumption to a foregone conclusion. One more win, and Michigan will earn a berth to the college football playoff. The Wolverines checked in at number 2 in the latest college football polls, their highest ranking ever in the playoff ever, setting the stage for a must-win game Saturday against our Iowa Hawkeyes, the Big Ten West champions. And a victory for those Michigan Wolverines at Lucas Oil Stadium will almost assuredly earn Jim Harbaugh's team a spot in the 4-team playoff, a format that began in 2014 and Michigan has never been. However, these Iowa Hawkeyes will be making their second visit to Lucas Oil Field for this game. And they didn't fare so well back in 2015, buddy. I had the opportunity to be there. I know you were there. They faced those LJ Scott-led Michigan State Spartans and ended up losing that contest 16-13. However, here we are. We are in a whole new situation, and these Iowa Hawkeyes face off against these Michigan Wolverines. We have a long-standing history, David, against this team. We have some great wins, some close losses, but two notably that come to mind for me, Dave. First and foremost, most recently, November 14th, 2016, those Michigan Wolverines made the trip to Iowa City to face off against an unranked Iowa Hawkeye team. Let me make sure I make mention to the fact that those Wolverines, they were ranked number 2 at the time, Dave. They were ranked number 2. And they faced off against a very tough and stingy Iowa Hawkeye team. And in that 2016 contest, the Hawks won on a last-second field goal by Charlotte native Keith Duncan, winning that game 14-13. That game comes to mind. But the other game that comes to mind for me, David, is 2002 in the Big House. Iowa Hawkeyes take the field on a gloomy, cold October day and take it to the 12th rank. It was 12, 13th, 14th, whatever. They were ranked higher than us. The Michigan Wolverines were on that day, but we emerged victorious. So I say all that to say this rivalry, this game, these two teams have a little bit of a history, right? What do you remember most about it, about those games? And segue into this matchup coming on at 8:00 Eastern on Fox. That's going to be the Big Ten championship game.
When you think about the history of Iowa and playing in these big games, when we've been saying this pretty much all season, we kind of play to the level of our competition. So when it comes to big games, like when we're playing against Michigan, or we're playing against a team like a Penn State, or even Ohio State, right? We play to the level of our competition. We tend to play up to our potential more. And that's what you saw in 2016. That's what you saw in 2002. We went out there in 2002. We were just on a roll. I mean, that team that we had back then, we were really good. We were the cohesion that we had on and off the field. That was a special team. But the history of Iowa has been that when a big team comes in, we get up and we're ready to play, and we show up. So whatever your record is, whatever your ranking is, toss it out the window, right? Come that Saturday, put your hand in the dirt, and it's time to go to work. We're going to see what you have. We're going to test your mettle. You're going to come test our mettle, and we're going to see what's what. That's what happens day in and day out when you come out to an Iowa game and you see us out there on the field. You see those kids out there playing. They're flying around. Right? Everybody's enjoying the moment. They're not thinking about, oh, I'm playing against the number 2 ranked team. The moment's typically not too big for us. The guys go out there and they play their hearts out. You go back to when we were playing there in the big house, 2002, that was actually their homecoming. That was their homecoming that game. And I think that was their worst loss for homecoming, I think almost like 40 plus years. We were just out there playing and having fun. That's what happens with us. We go out there, we play, we have fun. It's typically a close game, defensive struggle. Wasn't so much in 2002, but with us, there's typically some kind of comeback here coming for this year. Is what I anticipate for this game. We call these guys, I call them the heart attack Hawks for a reason, right? The games are played close. We're playing to the low of our competition as opposed to going out there and playing to our potential. And I'm expecting for this game, even though the prognosticators have it a foregone conclusion that these guys are going to win. Right now, the odds, wow, they're overwhelming in Michigan's favor. But those are just numbers that people are running. These guys still have to go out there and play the game. And every Saturday, you know how it goes. No matter what the prognosticators say, no matter what the data tells you, these guys still have to go out there and perform. And on any given Saturday, you can win or you can lose. You got to show up first. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking forward to a defensive struggle. I know our defense is good. Their defense is good too. And those defensive ends, I've been talking about them since earlier this week. Well, for Michigan, they are something special. They are. They're going to give our offensive line all that they can handle. And with his number 2 ranking, I know Jim's going to have those guys ready to go. They want to be in that 4-team playoffs. So they're going to be out there ready to go. And I know we want to go out there and win too. We want to win our Big Ten championship. If we do win, this will be the first time that we've won outright under the tutelage of Coach Ferentz. Right? This will be the first time. So that's something I know he's thinking about. I know it's something the Hawk Nation's thinking about. And I know something that this special team that we have, they want to achieve. So I'm looking forward to this game.
Yes, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a huge, explosive battle defensively, for sure. Both defenses have been stout throughout the season, but this Michigan Wolverine offense is led by Cade McNamara, who has posted some pretty good numbers, man. He's started all 12 games for them, has completed 183 of 284 passes, and has over 2,300 passing yards on the season with 14 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. They also bring in J.J. McCarthy off the bench. He's appeared in 9 games. He is more the dual threat guy. They bring him in to run the ball a lot more. He has thrown the ball. He has 4 touchdowns on the season. So with that, that's their offense, man. They got a couple guys that can definitely get the ball around the park. Hassan Haskins, I know those that watched that game against Ohio State, man, that guy really showed pretty dominantly against those Buckeyes, man. He's a guy that can tote that rock and really has a lot of ability. He's the thing about him is, the thing about Michigan, period, is they have a system where they definitely bring in multiple backs, but then, like I said, J.J. McCarthy, he's the 5th leading rusher on the team. Haskins backup Corum, he's a guy who's got pretty serious numbers. Haskins has got over 1,200 yards on the season himself with 18 total touchdowns. Corum has 865 yards on the season with 10 touchdowns. So between the 2 top backs, they actually have over 2,000 yards rushing, and they account for almost 30 touchdowns between the 2 of them. So this rushing attack is not going to be something easy for this Hawkeye defense to have to handle. The passing game is receiving game. Their receiving core is led by Cornelius Johnson, who's got 594 total yards on the season with only 3 touchdowns. Now, the thing about their receiving core, nobody just jumps off the page in terms of being that guy, you know what I'm saying, in terms of the guy that they're going to go to every single time. You know, you look at the numbers, it's pretty spread out, you know, but the thing is that they are a very capable group. Very capable group. The second leading receiver on the team is the tight end Eric All. So they utilize various formations. They utilize various personnel, and they definitely lean on the run. The ability to run the football. That's been Jim Harbaugh's MO since dating back to his days at Stanford and Toby Gerhardt, as far as I remember. So that's going to be his MO moving forward. That's what has gotten this Cinderella to the dance, and I see them going and continuing that same trend, man. What are your thoughts on their offense?
I mean, you touched on a lot of stuff there. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head there with Cade McNamara, and then also with the receiving core. They do pass that ball around, right? So when you look at their offense and the run game and the pass game and the combination of the two, they are actually fairly well balanced. Like if you look at their average rushing yards and their average passing yards per game, they are 226 in pass yards per game. They're 224, almost 225 rush yards per game. That's a balanced attack. That means that their offensive line right there, they have a seasoned offensive line. Those guys out there are protecting their quarterback. They're making holes for that running back, right? They're doing the thing where we're talking about getting sticky, driving that down lineman up to the second level and taking that man to that second level, right? They're creating those holes. That's what you see when you have a balanced attack like that. The offense really starts to flow. It starts to click, right? That offensive line is a big reason for the success of that offense. That quarterback has Cade has 3 interceptions for the year, 14 touchdowns, and he's able to pass the ball around. If you said there's no one receiver that just jumps off the page at you, that's a reason. He's able to pass. He's able to disseminate the ball and get to his second, his third read options. That right there is a testament to that offensive line holding their water and being able to get out there and hold their man, not necessarily hold the man, but keep the man away from that quarterback and give him the pocket that he needs so he can step up into the pocket and step into his throw. That's a big deal. You talked about the running back Haskins. He's looking at 224 carries for 1,232 yards on 18 touchdowns. He is toting the rock. That man is moving. He's able to do what he's able to do. The running backs, we all know, they're good. But a lot of them, they have to be good, but they're only as good as their offensive line will actually let them be. He is able to do what he's able to do because of that offensive line. It's the same thing that goes with that entire offense. That offensive line is established. They're mean, they're tough, they're physical, and they play together. Their continuity, I watched them against Ohio State a little bit. They come out there and they're protectors. Hey, they got one of their guys, they feel like one of their guys is being disrespected or they're being picked on. They're right there. They have his back. So that offensive line, they're mean, they're nasty, they're tough. The continuity, they have good technique. They sit in their technique. They're not going to be fooled by a lot of disguise coverages, the blitzes and stuff. It's a good offense. They have a great combination to go ahead and actually perform well. On our side of the ball, we have a fairly balanced attack. We're getting there. Passing yards were about 178 yards a game. Rushing, we're at about 121. So they have the edge on us, about 150 yards per game. So it's going to be a defensive struggle. Our defense, we're going to need them. Same thing with our special teams. We're going to need them to be special again. The same way that we've won pretty much all year. It's what kind of I'm hoping for this game. If we look at the last 5 games, we're both 4-1 in the last 5 games. And we both lost, October 30th, right? Our loss came to Wisconsin, their loss came to Michigan State. But since then, we've each rattled off 4 wins, 4 victories. And we talked about this all the time. A W is a W. Being able to come out of the game with a W, and people talk about an ugly win. I'm with you. I'm not sure what an ugly win looks like. I know what an ugly loss looks like. An ugly loss is just an L. That's an ugly loss to me. So They are riding a 4-game win streak, so are we. Coming to this game, our objective is to get them to play our game. And again, their objective is to get us to play theirs. It's going to be a battle of wills, and we'll see who wins. I think this defensive struggle and our special teams might be the difference for it. That'll be the differentiator. If we can get our special teams to continue what they're doing and score some points for us, we have a chance. As long as we're out there and there's time left on the clock and the game is close, we have a chance, man. That's what, from what I'm seeing, we have a chance. And yeah, as long as just keep fighting.
That's all you can do, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you got to take the field. You got to line up. You got to take the snap, and you never know what can happen. And I'm not going to even come from the standpoint of, what do they have to do in terms of anything particular. For me, it's just all of it cumulatively. It's about a cumulative. I'm having trouble with that word today. Cumulative. I need to do like some mouth warm-ups when I do that. Cumulative effect. And you move past that. The effect of all three phases playing together. That's what I feel like will help and make sure and ensure the best possible outcome for this group. But beyond that, though, it really has to come down to everybody playing as one, offensive, defensively, and special teams. We already know the situation, Spencer being named the starter for this upcoming game. He's got 1,500 yards, 1,532 total yards on the season, 9 touchdowns compared to that 6 interceptions that he's thrown. Alex Padilla I can't say ended up. He still has had a pretty good season when he's had the opportunity with 598 total yards off of 45 total completions off of 97 attempts with 2 touchdowns compared to 1 interception. We talked a little bit about that, David, the quarterback situation, and we talked a lot about the fact that Michigan has a couple of edge rushers who have really done a tremendous job of getting at the quarterback. Aiden Hutchinson, number 97, and David Ojabo, number 55. Those 2 guys coming off the edge have really caused nightmares for opposing offenses and, even veteran offenses. Now we're talking about an offense like ours that has a couple of young guys who have matured over the season. Don't get me wrong. Those guys have definitely done a great job against some great talent and have matured throughout the season. However, they struggled at times. So this is going to be a test for our offense, being able to handle these edge rushers. What is going to be the remedy for us moving forward in terms of how to best combat that and give our offense the best possible opportunity to win on Saturday night?
It's going to be the same thing it's always been for me. Establish the run. If we can establish the run, we negate their pass rush ability, right? We know they have good, stout defensive ends, right? Can their defensive tackles move? If we start running the zone, we start stretching them out, we start running outside zone, are they able to flow with us? Can they stop our run? Can they stop the rush and make us one-dimensional? That there may be the game for us, right? If they can stop the run and make us one-dimensional, and by stopping the run, I mean, hey, we can't put together drives. Not necessarily we have to score every drive, but we need to put together some drives that allows our defense to actually rest. We've been talking about this whole season, our defense needs to be fresh. Right? We know that's the heartbeat of our team. That's the strength of our team. We need them ready to go out there and play because they're going against a potent offense over here against Michigan. That offense knows how to put up points, and they're creative. Right? He's a creative man. He loves establishing the run. Now, if they start getting on the roll and they can establish the run, which is our strength of stopping the run, that makes it for a long day for our defense. Our offense, establishing that run, negating those defensive ends, that will help open up the pass, right? If we can start establishing that run and make it so those guys are a little tired, hey, that's great. That's exactly what we need. But the other thing is just use your technique. Just use your technique. If you use your technique, if you believe in yourself as an offensive tackle, an offensive lineman, and you use your technique, those guys over there, you take away their opportunities to take advantage of you. Take away their opportunities to take advantage of you by just using your technique. Sit there, don't open up the gate. Don't overkick, right? Don't overcommit to the inside. Just sit in your technique and be confident in your ability to block that guy. He's good. They're good. But you're good as well. Everybody out there has a scholarship. All those guys out there, they're all good. Everybody's all something, all whatever. When you came in from high school, they're good. You're out there starting as well. You're good enough. Just believe in yourself.
Absolutely. And to add to that, we talked about you touched on the run game. Tyler Goodson's 1,100 yards on the season makes that three total 1,000-yard seasons for that young man, and he now is, like I mentioned in the last show in the post game for Nebraska, he's now gone over. He's 10th all time with 2,500 plus total yards in his career. So being able to continue to do that, continue on that same route, and continue to grow in this offensive line, continue to run the ball, establish that run. Those all factors are huge in terms of how this team's going to be able to take this game in this upcoming Saturday. This Michigan defense, man, they got a couple of guys on the back end, especially the linebacking core. They got a graduate at Josh Ross, but they also got a freshman, Junior Colson, who both those guys are linebackers, and they basically have a 4-2-5 scheme what they're running. Does that play a benefit into our offensive run ability in terms of them having that additional defensive back? We talked about this earlier in the season against one of the teams we played, and I believe that it may have been Akron or one of those teams that had a similar type of scheme where they employed that 4-2-5. How does that really work for our offense? Does that play into our hands? Does that play into their hands, having that additional defensive back to be able to cover, say, a tight end, or does it play a detriment with our big offensive linemen being able to get up to the second level and create those holes for Goodson and the additional running backs?
It actually plays really, really well when we're doing our zone scheme for blocking, the run blocking, right? And it opened up the hole in the backside, right? So that means this puts a lot of onus on that tight end to get down there and cut off that backside defensive end. And that backside tackle, if we're running, our play, 23B, if we're running that backside offensive tackle and that backside tight end, the onus is really on them because the front side guys from the right guard on are going to push everybody. They're going to push. That backside tackle has to be able to cut that guy off, right? Get up to the second level. Give a hand so that tight end can get to that defensive end, cut him off, and get up there. That's the block. That's the key block. So whether it's 23B, 22B, 26B, 27B, right? Inside zone, outside zone to the weak side, cutting off that backside is really paramount for us to be able to get that running game going. Most of the holes you're going to see with this type of defensive scheme typically are backside. So that really helps. You do not have someone that's really used to dealing with an offensive lineman, right? So that's an advantage to the offense. If we take advantage of it, when we take advantage of it, it'll hit home. It will. It's happened for us in the past. It'll happen again.
Well, we've covered a lot in this segment, Dave. We've covered a lot in this show. It's a huge game. This is the Big Ten championship game. All the marbles. Michigan's hoping to get that playoff berth. Iowa's hoping to get his first outright Big Ten championship. What are your three keys to an Iowa victory for this game?
Wow. Start fast, right? Our offense, we need them to get going. And that's going to be with the offensive line play, establishing the run, right? And then the whole team effort. We need our special teams to be special again. Right? They've scored a touchdown on the last two games. We need them to do it again. Show up again for it, please. And what are you seeing?
Yeah. For me, I think that take it first. on the offensive side, um, establishing the run is going to be key. Obviously, that's what Iowa's built on. Obviously, the outside zone stretch game. That's the biggest key. Being able to establish that against a very physical, very fast defensive front and defense overall that had did a pretty tremendous job against an Ohio State team that was really wrecking everybody, and a quarterback who was a front runner for the candidate for the Heisman candidacy. So this group that these Hawks are playing against is not a weak group. So establishing the run, being diverse on offense is also going to be a kind of key one part B. Being diverse, um, being able to get them off of their comfort zone and being able to keep them off their feet and keep them off their toes and trying to figure out what's going on. It's been a long season. It's been a tremendously long season, and things have shaken themselves out. Sam Laporta has been the top receiver from game one all the way through game 12 now, and behind him, everything has been shaken up. Now, second on the team in receiving is Keaton Johnson with 339 total yards. Behind him is Nico Reganey with 331 total yards. So these guys have come alive. These young freshmen, particularly, have come alive. So for this offense to continue to be diverse, get these young guys involved. I didn't mention Arlen Bruce. I didn't mention Tyler Goodson or Tyrone Tracy. Tyler Goodson in the passing game with Tyrone Tracy, but everybody has to be up. You have five eligible, I should say, and everybody has to be alive, and everybody has to be an option in the passing game and in the offense as a whole. Defensively, this is a tough team. Like we mentioned, everybody, like I just talked about, everybody needing for our offense to have everybody be an option. Everybody is an option for Michigan's offense, and anybody can get hot at any time. However, Hassan Haskins, the senior running back, he is the key cog for that running game. He is the key cog for that offense. Being able to take him out of his game. As a senior, this is the biggest game of his career besides their rivalry game that they just played in. This Big Ten championship game, his senior year, is the biggest game he's going to play in. And so, or I should say has played in thus far. So taking him out of the game, really pounding him and making Michigan one-dimensional, making McNamara have to throw the ball, making the other quarterback, whenever he comes in, knowing what his strengths are and playing up to those strengths and taking those away from him. So that's key number two, doing their best to take away their playmakers. And third is going to be special teams. It's always special teams. It always is that triangle of those 3 points of those one of offense, defensive, and special teams, that trinity. So Cade Shudak had an amazing game last week, scoring 12 points by himself, right? Really putting our team on his back and creating a lot of points for us. We need that same effort in any opportunities that he has on the field. We need that same kind of effort. Caleb Shudak, we need that. All right. So we know that that's going to be the key whenever we don't get those drives into the end zone. Caleb Shudak is kicking. Torrey Taylor, we need that Aussie bomber to come alive and continue and do what he's done throughout this season and be consistent and get some punts down inside their five, and creating the long field for that offense. They don't score very well. No offenses score very well with first and 95. So it makes it very, very difficult for offenses to score. And I've called it all season. I'm gonna end the Big Ten season with calling it again. Charlie Jones to the house in some way, form, or fashion, whether it be kickoff return, punt return. Charlie Jones, give us one this Saturday night. That's what we need. We need it, Charlie. All right. So those three keys are what I have for Iowa victory, and I think that's what it's going to take. Man, David, you got anything else for us?
Yeah, no, not really. I'm just it's Iowa. We're going to need a total team victory here. Total team effort to get that victory. And the way it's been all year, we've been grinding it out. We've been finding a way to win. Today, these guys need to make up their mind that this Saturday, we're going to find a way and just go out there and do it. Find a way to win.
That's it. whatever it takes. Find that way to win. So with that, this has been Hawk Talk. I am your host, Colin Cole, along with co-host David Porter. We're looking for a huge game, 8 p.m. on Fox up there in Indianapolis, Indiana. Iowa Hawkeyes take on, well, I should say the Big Ten West champions. The Iowa Hawkeyes take on the Big Ten East champions, the Michigan Wolverines, in what is sure to be a bloody battle. I'm looking for some bloodbath. This is what I'm looking for. This is what football is about. It's going to be a tremendous opportunity for these guys to come out and establish themselves. And yeah, I'm excited because this is what it's championship time. It's championship season. So with that, I'm Colin Cole for David Porter. Thank you guys for joining us. God bless and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.